You'll notice I left my red flag up there on the board because I'm putting a red flag against this question too. This will mean nothing to most of you, or almost all of you, I think. The reason I'm putting a red flag on this one is because this idea of taking a product, that's what this is, a long product, right? And working out there are pieces that I can take out from each one in order to simplify the whole is a really useful skill when you get to a topic in Extension 2 under integration that talks about these things called recurrence relations, which have these multiplications of many, many things, and you must work with these long products and how to simplify them, okay? So this idea of how to take this term, right, and get some meaning out of it is valuable. Let's have a look. You got 30 by 28 by 26, etc. Okay? Now this is a bit of a weird thing to look at, right? Because we've looked at things like this. If I gave you 10 by 9 by 8, and I said, please simplify that for me, okay? It's like, well, you could just say, well, it's 720, okay? But that's not a meaningful way of simplifying it. It doesn't show you any of the patterns that's there. In fact, if anything, it flattens out where the number came from. It came from a very logical spot. You would say, well, this number, it starts like 10 factorial. It starts like 10 factorial, right? But it doesn't end like that. It stops, and the part that it's missing, off the end, is the 7, 6, 5, etc. all the way down to 1. So it's missing 7 factorial. So to take away the 7 factorial, we divide. Okay, now there's a similar kind of idea happening here, right? This kind of looks like 30 factorial, but it's missing pieces. Rather than missing a whole bit off the end, right? It's missing every second term, okay? So how do we get it so that it's a consecutive sequence of numbers and then I can write a factorial? Well, this is actually a consecutive sequence of numbers. It's just not consecutive with every one. It's every 2, isn't it? Right? So it's skipping. It's 2, and then 2, and then 2. So if I were to take out a factor of 2 out of each of these terms, what would this become? It would become 15 by 14 by 13 by down to 1, okay? So it would become 15 factorial. Now then that raises the question. If I am going to take out all of those 2's to leave only 15 factorial behind, very convenient based on the last question we looked at, how many 2's do I have to take out? And the answer is, well, how many terms are there? And the answer is, there are 15 terms, okay? Because I just said, it's going to be 15 factorial once I take out all the 2's. So there will be 15 2's I have to take out. So rather than write that, I will say to the power of 15. That's it. That's as simple as it gets, okay? Now, I'm going to use that trick when I come down to here, right? Look at this thing. You think, okay, I'm missing terms again, but I'm missing every alternate one. Just like that. It's just that I'm missing the other ones. You think, ooh, I know what I'll do. I'll divide by something in order to turn this into some other factorial. Which runs into a problem as soon as you look at the first term, which is prime. It doesn't divide by anything. Not to mention the fact that even if it did divide by something, you can guarantee it won't divide by the next things that the next one will, or the next one, or the next one. Because odd numbers are jerks, whereas even numbers are nice and friendly. Okay? So what are you going to do with this thing? What are you going to do with this thing? Well, right, okay, so not quite minus. Look at this, right? We started thinking, oh, this is kind of like 30 factorial, isn't it? But when we teased into it a little more, we saw actually it's more like this. It's more like 15 factorial than 30 factorial. Well, now that I know what this thing is, I can relate it to this. Because if I put this together with this, if I multiplied every term in here by every term in here, what would I get? I would get 30 by 29 by 20. I have this scenario, right? I've got this scenario. I've got 30 factorial, but I'm missing all of these guys. Right? Every single one of these. That's it. That's all there is to it. So, use parts you've already worked out to advance to other parts. And then if you look at part C, it's basically just keep going.